Welcome back to MVGA Podcast. Here at Make Veterans Great Again, our mission is to reach out to fellow brothers and sisters in arms to conquer our mental health together. Just remind everybody that they're not alone and we all have our own struggles. Today's episode is brought to you by TRC Construction and Arizona Organics. Today I'd like to introduce Pilot Flyin, Myles Hye.
What's happening, man? Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming to the show, brother. How you been?
Hey, man, I'm blessed, dog. Every day above the ground, I'm doing good, man. I'm doing great.
Okay, and if you haven't noticed already, he likes to rap and he's pretty good at it, so he's going to sing to us throughout the show. So maybe you'll get a little special serenade.
Yeah, we got a couple cool things, man, on the list. So check out Audio Mac, Frequent Flight Miles, man. Go check that out. It's your boy Pilot Flyin, man. I got a whole lot of cool stuff, man. Loud and clear.
All right, Pilot Flyin. I heard you loud and clear, just like your record label is.
Yes, sir.
I don't want to know Pilot Flyin right now. I want to know Myles.
All right, for sure, absolutely.
So
Talk to me.
How's Myles' childhood? What was life like growing up?
Happy home, man. Both of my parents, kind of like a suburban area. Never really worried about my safety. Never really worried about playing outside, whatever. I was able to enjoy my childhood. Growing up. So yeah, my younger years were, enjoyable. I kind of actually don't have too much memories of back then, but it was a good childhood, man. I didn't have a lot of trauma. I played sports. I was that every, round the day kind of good kid, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's awesome. So did you grow up in this area in Arizona?
Nah, I'm actually from Fredericksburg, Virginia. The younger years were very pleasant. I think when things started to get challenging was when I, became a teenager and, life really started to happen. I was able to actually think about, understanding that I'm making decisions and understanding that, things that I do has a consequence to it. And I think that started to make life difficult when it came to follow my parents' rules and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like I was kind of like not disobedient, but I guess if that's the word, I always challenge it. Like I was a kid who always asked why, why this, why that, and I think that made it difficult, going into my teenage years. And then, unfortunately, 2009, my mom passed away when I was 15 years old. So I kind of had to, in that developmental stage of learning how, oh man, I make decisions. Things in my life happen regularly. That again, I think really started the challenges, as developing into a young adult.
So, in your junior high years then?
Yeah, 10th, 11th grade, 12th
So it kind of hit you hard that mommy and daddy couldn't save you anymore, right?
For
now
sure.
Your actions are your actions.
For sure.
Okay. Can you remember exactly when that happened to you?
Really, it was, once she had passed away, I realized that, my dad, so I'm the oldest of three. So I have, 2 younger siblings. So I had to realize, hey, it's more than just me. We all lost somebody important and special to us. So then it was, again, I have to mature quicker. I have to take responsibility for certain things. I think my dad did a great job of maintaining the level of life that we lived, so it didn't, the life didn't change based upon her not being there. He did a good job. Obviously things were different at home, right, but the quality of our living stayed the same. And I think that he did a great job as a parent maintaining that. And then me being the oldest child, having to still facilitate 2 younger siblings while still grieving and going through everything I am as a 15, 16, and 17-year-old.
Yeah, so did you say you were the oldest?
Yeah.
So then do you feel like you had to take on the role as almost as a step parent, an additional parent in a sense?
In a way, most definitely. So I'm 5 years older than my brother and I'm 7 years older than my sister. Okay. And I'll be turning 30 this year. And I think that, being the oldest, I did have to step into that role of, second parent or, step parent in a kind of way. Helping them get ready for school, making sure they got the things that they need, that, kind of doing the things that my mom showed us that we needed to do for ourselves. And so I think, those years, 15, 16, 17, 18, becoming a young adult were difficult because I was battling grieving while still trying to be something that I didn't know what it was like to be a parent for two other people that, you know, I believed counted on me.
Right. Yeah, that had to be hard. Like, do you feel like you were able to properly grieve yourself, or do you feel like you took the role of like, okay, I got to step up and be the mature older brother? I can't show my emotions. I can't go through it. Or did you allow yourself to?
I absolutely didn't. I think that I played, you know, in everyone's eyes, I played that like I'm solid, I'm cool, you know, like I'm calm, collected. But you know, behind closed doors, like, you know, I'm doing self-sabotaging, like I'm depressed, like I'm not eating properly, like I'm knowing that I have responsibilities to fill, again, playing sports, you know, making sure that my brother and sister don't see that I'm not eating right, because then they may succumb to those negative behaviors and things like that. So like in everyone's eyes, I'm cool. Like you don't see no emotion. You don't see, you know, a mama's boy missing his mom. You know what I mean? And so that was really, you know, a heavy internal struggle. Is, you know, I walking around with a smile, but really like everything inside is hurting.
Yeah. Like you have to be two different people.
Absolutely. Hey, you mind if I blaze this, bro? Hey, man, shout out to House Exotics, Arizona Organics, man. This just touched down today, bro. Zach's Cake, London Fog, Treehouse Infused Pre-Roll, man. I'm about to check this out, man. Shout out to House Exotics, man. Always with some fire flower. AZO with the killer deals. This just hit the dispensary today, so you know what I'm saying? I only smoke exclusive anyway, so you know, not to get on my little roll, but you know, I had to put something in the air, man, when we talking. So
no, understandable. It'll help you get a little bit more personal, you know.
Yeah, man, I wanna let you know who I am for real. So
no, I appreciate that. And you said it sounded like you were very self-aware of how you needed your actions to portray to your younger brother and sister. Are you saying that now looking back, or do you remember that at 15, 16, 17 years old, you're like, okay, I can't cry here. I have to pretend like I'm eating here or doing blah, 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 blah.
I think in the moment it wasn't a realization. I think as I begin to understand, you know, what I went through as an adult, I kind of was able to reflect and understand, like, that's why I was doing it. And I think that it was more of a, you know, not like a present thought. Like I wasn't like you said, like I can't cry right now. Like it was more of like that was just what was happening. So
like you didn't even have time to think about crying. You had to worry about getting food made, kids ready.
Right. Exactly. I mean, you know, like I kind of alluded to before, you know, my pops made sure everything was cool. You know, he worked a job. He made sure we played sports. You know, I feel like I was the black sheep of the family. Like, you know, again, like growing up, being, you know, the the questioning one, the one that's like, why this, why that, inquisitive, like, you know, like, oh, you know, my dad's like, oh, well, you need to eat, you need to have a routine, you need to, you know, make sure that you have structure. So my dad was in the Air Force for a short period of time, so he instilled those type of qualities, you know, like wake up, everything has a routine, everything has a place, like that level of ordinance. And I think that helped me also when I'm feeling like those, you know, depression moments, or like when I'm feeling weak, or like I resort back to my routine because that's my habits. And as humans, we rely on our habits and stuff like that. And again, it didn't take until I was 25, 26, 27 years old, realizing like, oh, my dad told me these things because it's in unknowing preparation for like when you, like, we're all humans, we all go through sad stuff. You know what's guaranteed is like we were born by parents and we're gonna lose our parents. You know what I mean? Like that's guaranteed. You know, like, and so like as humans, we all got to experience that one way or another.
Yeah, and there's absolutely a purpose behind everything we do, and if there's not, you need to reevaluate while you're doing that. But I've definitely have recognized that routine and structure is crucial for my mental health, because if I don't, then I'll just become not so much, definitely lazy, right? But like I just don't have a routine, I don't want to say I don't have anything to live for, because I have beautiful kids and wife and all that to live for, right? But it's just like if I'm doing monotonous shit, like what's there to do? So
Right.
the more I get into that structure and routine, the more doors just seem to open, but it's not. I'm doing the work to open the fucking doors. And then, especially for my 3-year-old, my wife and I have learned very well that she needs structure and a routine and a bedtime, or else it's just the Sour Patch Kid all damn day.
Right. Right. I mean, and again, like, that's in preparation, because even as babies we do it. Like, they're tired, or they're fussy because they're tired because they're not on a schedule. Whereas if you give them adequate amount of sleep and you make them follow that structure, then that baby is a different baby. Right. Because of their brain. Their brain is conditioned differently. Whereas some places where children don't have structure, it supersedes into their teenage years and their adult years, and now we have unreliable adults because they were never held to be accountable for things. Even, again, as simple as making your bed in the morning. As simple as no deeper than that. Making your bed in the morning. Some people do it, some people don't.
You know the why behind making your bed in the morning?
Set your brain up for a list to do. You completed a task the first thing you opened your eyes.
Yep, and then you're more likely to complete more tasks if the first thing you do is to complete a task.
It's the reason why, because humans are
There's a
creatures
reason
of
behind
habit.
everything, bro. It's so crazy when you learn it. And then, as easy as it sounds, it's still hard to implement it sometimes.
Yeah.
But just because it is hard doesn't mean it's impossible. Everything's possible. You just got to have the strength to fight through it.
No, I think we're, as humans, we all, like, no one's perfect. No one's perfect. Even as someone who has a flawless routine is not perfect. Right. Some days that I could bet that some of those people with those flawless routines, out of the 365 days, at least one of those days, man, they're not on their flawless routine, because we're all flawed humans. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, and like, for example, our flawless routine of setting up this podcast was flawed today, but normally it runs smoothly after our mics are turned on. But yeah, no. So your childhood, what helped you cope other than having to cope or having to go on? Right, like you said, you played sports. Yeah. So did you dive deeper into sports?
I did. I found a couple of avenues. Again, some healthy, some unhealthy.
I want to hear them both.
So the healthy ones, I would say, again, is kind of going back to the same thing as the making your bed aspect, like with sports. Like, you got practice after school, you got to work out, you got, like, it's routine. I can rely on it. So the things in between of my routine while I'm playing sports isn't really as impactful. Now we go to the winter months when I played football. So football wasn't in season. And I didn't run indoor track, so I just took the winter years off. Winter months. And, winter years. And,
House Exotic for you. It really works.
Hey, yeah, but some good bud, bro. Shout out to House Exotics. But, so now I have unstructured time. So now I have time to think about my feelings. I have time to think about the things that I'm hurting about. Yeah. And so in that, it led me towards video games, like escaping reality in that type of way, where it was, even if it was only an hour of time, where, like, I just didn't have to be me. Like, I could just, I play sports games, Madden, Call of Duty, like, so it was not, I separated, I dissociated, realistically, into playing video games. And so I think that was healthy at first, right? Because, like, it was, like, compounded with school. So, like, I come home from school, play video games, and then I was like, okay, I go hang out with friends, and then I'll come home, eat dinner, play video games. And so it was, like, kind of building that. And then it got to that point where it was too much, and then it became unhealthy, where it was like I wasn't going to school to play video games. You feel what I'm saying? And so it was like, that's where it became unhealthy, where then it was like, okay, now I'm skipping school. Now my association is different as far as my friends wise, because my friends all played sports. They went to school. Like, they didn't skip school. So now I'm hanging out with older kids. And now I'm getting introduced to different things. And so, like, now I get introduced to cannabis. And so at first I'm very like, oh, nah, I'm cool. But, like, I'm still hanging out with them because, like, I'm cool enough to hang out with the older kids. And because I played sports, they all knew me, like, right. So it goes into that. Now it's sports, video games, and cannabis. And those were my three biggest like coping mechanisms, I would say.
And this is still high school or junior high?
So high school, and so middle school, straight edge, super smooth. So my mom passed away when I was a freshman in high school. So 10th grade, 11th grade, 12th grade were very trying years. So like I didn't actually start medicating until I was about 15 and a half going on 16. So I say 16. And that's when I started like occasionally like, oh, I'm not supposed to do this, but like I'm smoking like once on the weekend. And then it healthy to a degree. Obviously, I'm not supposed to be medicating at 16 years old, but it gave me that level of dissociation. Like I could just get stoned and be at my homeboy's crib safe. Like I'm not doing out, like I'm not driving around, like I'm not being reckless. Like it's literally just like what I did not realize I was doing at 16 years old. And then again, it became pattern became habit became daily use, then daily use became overuse, and then overuse began to create negative things that happened in my life. So then it was like now because I'm medicating to fix this problem that I'm feeling that I have, I'm on a decline. Like nothing is. So in Virginia, cannabis was not legal, and so like dealing with that. So now it's a compound of, damn, my vice is something that could put me in jail. And it's like I'm coping, like I'm smoking a joint because my mom passed and y'all are trying to arrest me.
Right.
So
and then
now,
your emotions are going to be screwed because you're using it to cope, and it's just a whole misunderstanding that's going to escalate, not necessarily.
So now I'm looking at my coping mechanism as negative. I'm like, and people around me are like, yo, bro, you need to, my dad, my aunts, like, the older people in my life are seeing that it's affecting my life negatively. So then I take some time. I had my first daughter. I realized, like, hey, like, as much as I love medicating myself, I have something to live for now. So now I can't be making these irrational decisions. I can't be making these just because I feel like it decisions. And then I think that then at that point, once I, had my first daughter, I began to actually educate myself on using cannabis properly. Like, and learning how to like dose myself out. Like, okay, I'm only smoking a joint a day instead of smoking 4 joints a day. And like, actually, like, okay, like I don't need to smoke 15 times just because I'm bored. Like, you know what I mean? So now it became a positive coping mechanism because I was able to actually control it.
So did you take a break when you were when you started recognizing that it was unhealthy for you, the amount? Did you take a break from smoking for a period of time, or did you just slow down?
Slow down. I wouldn't use the word break, I guess. It would be more of like, we're at a point, again, being a college kid, right? Like, I'm spending my last $20 on a gram to smoke because, like, it's the weekend or whatever. Like, I'm in college. Like, I know but so this is my last 20, but then it's like, okay, bro, like, we can't do that. We can't do that. Like, you can't do that in order to, like, you're putting yourself in a position. Like, okay, well, what if I needed that $20 actually, and I smoked it away? So that realization point made me kind of like recognize, like, okay, I need to take a break. Like, and I guess that would be like, okay, so now I'm taking 3 weeks off. Like, okay, now I saved up $80. Okay, now I can get 7 grams, and it's like now that's lasting me the whole week instead of buying a gram every day because I need a fix. You know what I mean? So it was a shift in perspective, I think, at that point.
Okay. When did you move out to Arizona?
2018.
So you were in college or after college?
After college. I didn't graduate college. I was supposed to graduate in 2016. I dropped out in 2015 in the summer before I was going to go for my senior year.
Okay.
Yeah.
What made you drop out?
So financial situations and actually just the realization that I was going to have a daughter. Like, so my daughter was born February of 2016. And so, like, appreciate that. Yeah, shout out to my babies. I love my babies, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, so that was what really, like, it was like, okay, well, make a decision. go to college, graduate this, university, or kind of set yourself up to try to like facilitate being a parent. And I kind of just made the decision to go ahead and facilitate to be a parent.
Okay, I don't see anything wrong with that, right? Like, I do feel like you gained valuable tools or skills of going to college, and although in the time they sounded fun and seemed fun or miserable or whatever the case was, right? But you got something out of it, right? Because I'm assuming you went to college out of your hometown.
No, so I didn't go to school in my hometown. I went to school in Maryland to play football,
Okay.
Division III sports. So yeah, I went to Westminster, Maryland for college,
Okay.
McDaniel College.
But what I'm trying to get is I feel like a lot of people don't get enough culture and don't
Yeah.
get diversity in their lives, right?
Right.
And people are very ignorant, myself included, because we're all raised a certain type of way. We're all given different point of views and perspectives based on our environment, right? So if you don't go to a university, a college, join the military, or leave your hometown, I don't want to say you're small-minded. I don't mean it like that. But I mean, you're not getting a true experience of what the world really is or what America really is, right?
Right.
Or even what your fucking state is or isn't. Because you only know what you're listening to and everybody around is. But like when you, for example, you go to the Marine Corps, you're forced to love like hundreds of people at a time, like their family, right?
Right.
And we all come from different backgrounds, look different, act different, but we all
Have one
Yeah.
common, one common
and we all
denominator.
learn from each other, things we
Yeah.
like or things we don't like. Everybody, you can learn something from everybody, whether it's the janitor or the CEO of the company.
100%
You just got to be
agree.
able to respect people and talk to them, because yeah, that person may have came across as an asshole right now, but you don't know what, just because you're in a good mood and held the door open for them,
Right.
you don't know what they're
Right.
in, what's going on in their head and what's got them down.
Yeah.
Right. So we just got to be more self-aware of everyone and just be more friendly, bro.
I agree, man. I think our society is kind of cold right now, but again, I think it is in a place of like mental health. I think we went through something like not a lot of us have ever experienced as far as a pandemic in 2020, bro. And I think that really changed the direction of a lot of people in good ways and bad ways, I'll say. You know what I mean? Because I think it did obviously bring a lot of awareness to people being like mindful of health, but almost to like a obscure degree.
Yeah, by causing them to have to worry
But
about it or have to
exactly,
work on it,
exactly.
right? Because
So-
everybody was locked down, which I guess that's the blessing in disguise, right? But
Right.
was the collateral damage worth it?
Well, we got to live through that ripple right now. We're living through it. We're seeing what's happening right now. And that's another crazy thing is like we all like each moment is existing, right? So like everything that happens, like you said, everything is on a moment, right? So when we make decisions and we move things, like even individually, like me and you deciding to be here, you know what I'm saying? Everybody we're making a ripple in time right now because we decided to do this. You know what I'm saying? And like we gotta now live through the repercussions. So as a whole, like United States, we went through something all together. And so like everybody's singular, no matter if you were like, no, fuck COVID, this isn't real, like, or you were completely health conscious and scared, actually. It doesn't matter what you thought about it. It affected your life.
Absolutely.
So like that, and so like we all got to now live through that ripple of what, and then it's just a single decision as a pandemic. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and then I don't like talking about politics and that,
Yeah,
but like
no.
we went through two things that kept us divided instead of bringing us together. And that's what I hate, right? Like everybody, I don't care what side you're on, what you believe or what you don't believe, take a step back, bro. Like
Bingo.
the people, let's not even dive into
Bingo,
it, 'cause this
that's
is all
it.
about us and like feeling
Right.
better, right?
But no, yeah, absolutely. No, and it went there to be friendly to people, bro. We're all humans, man. We all do the same. We all got problems. Everybody's got problems. Everybody's got things that they can get through and go through. And I think that's awesome that you're bringing light to people who have experienced things. Like I give you the utmost respect for going through, the military and protecting our homeland, man. Like I couldn't do that, and I like utmost respect, man, because that also alters your life forever, no matter which, good, bad, indifferent. So,
Thank you.
you know what I'm
You're
saying?
right, it does. It
For
does.
sure.
But I also can't be completely ignorant to not believe that you being a rapper has changed your life for good and bad as well, right? It's just our life experiences. And the key point is we got to stop judging each other like, oh, your trauma's nowhere near as bad as mine. How are you complaining?
Right.
Because you have no idea what it was like to be that person, right?
Exactly.
Like, just because family A didn't have parents and family B had their parents doesn't mean their traumas are worse than one another.
You can't.
You know, so it doesn't.
You can't compare trauma, man. You can't.
Yeah, and that's a hard thing. I'll admit it. Like, sometimes, like, you gotta take a lot of things with me, I gotta take my ego and pride out of it, because that's the only thing that's getting hurt. Because I forget what I read, but it was that somebody should not. If somebody has control over you if their words cause a reaction. Because you telling me like, oh, hey, you fat motherfucker, right? Those are your thoughts. I may feel it, right? But those are your feelings. They shouldn't affect me. I allow myself to think that way, which I've actually recently have used that thinking to help me get out of like a moment where I was about to spiral. And I was just so mad, and I was ready to just destroy and be like, go all Hulk, right? But then I was like, bro, you're choosing to be mad right now. And as soon as I'd say that to myself, something would kick in like, ooh, you motherfucker. Like, how are you doing this to yourself? And I was like, no, I want to be mad. It was like the devil and the angel were going back and forth. But like the thought that I'm doing it to myself, that hurts.
Right, because
for me.
Well, but see, that makes sense though, because that is kind of what anger is. Like, you're not really mad. Like you said, I'm holding the door open and you don't say nothing. It's because I expected you to say something. I'm not mad at you for not saying nothing. I'm mad that I feel that I'm mad that you didn't say something.
Yeah.
Like, and that's where the anger is if you really look at it, because like that's all emotions are, is a reflection of like how you feel about something. So like when you're sad, you see a resemblance in that. And so it's like, that's why I'm sad, because like I relate to that.
Right. That's a great analogy about holding the door open, right? Because I used to do it. I still hold the door open for people. Right. But I used to say, oh, you're welcome, like if they didn't say anything.
Yeah,
and then
my
wife's like, my wife brought it to my attention. Like, she's like, are you holding the door open for yourself or for them, or to get something back from them? And I was like, I'm doing it for myself, but have fucking manners. And then I was like, you know what? And I said it earlier. I don't know what's going through their head. They didn't ask me to hold that door open,
didn't.
so why should they have to say anything?
They don't, technically.
Yes, it's polite.
It is nice.
But, like, I can't judge them because
manners.
they didn't. They could be going through something. Like, they could be, like, completely spaced off.
And didn't even recognize that you held the door open for them. And they're in there. I actually have been that person, too. Like, you're welcome. I'm from Virginia. Like, I really, like, it's like a manner thing. Like, I hold the door for people, bro. Like, it's a nice courtesy. You don't have to. All right, there's an obsessive distance, like 15 feet. Well, you can walk in, bro. Like, don't wait for me for 15 feet. But, like, if I'm right behind you, it's nice to hold the door.
Yeah, right? Just be aware of your surroundings is what it comes down to. And that will affect your emotions and everything, right?
Oh, sure.
Or my therapist taught me HALT. It's like hungry, angry, lonely, tired. So, like, when you're going through something, or, for example, your kid's going through something, significant other's going through something, you're like, what? This makes no sense. You got to halt. And you're like, okay, are they hungry? No. Are they angry? No. Are they lonely? Maybe. Are they tired? Yeah. Because kids don't know how to express their emotions to you, so them being lonely is going to turn into, like, an angry tangent because they don't know how to express, like, play dolls with me, Dad, you know? And then my daughter asked me that today, and I couldn't. I had to leave. I felt bad now.
Oh, no, not
brought back the dad tears.
No, I'm a girl dad too, bro, so I get it.
You got two?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so how old are they again?
7, and my youngest, Anaya, should be 2 soon in April.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have 4 kids. The 2 older ones are 15 and about to be 11. And then my 2 girls, they're 3 and 6 months.
Congratulations on the new.
Thank you. My wife started all over for me, but yeah, I'm
that's
grateful.
Awesome. Hey, more life, man. More humans to have an impact on the planet, man.
And that's the worst part is my impact is truly affecting them because they're learning from me. They're watching everything I do, good, bad, ugly, happy, sad.
Exactly.
Right? So, like, now I can't just preach this shit. I have to do it, or else dude, consciously I know I'm fucking up my kids every day.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how great of a dad I am, how great of a mom my wife is. Something is always going to be wrong. Like, we can't please kids. We go through our own emotions, and like, that's okay, right? But we just got to continue to do the best and be the best. And we also got to remember that, like, we're spoiling the fuck out of our kids. So we can't be mad at them for acting that way, right? We gave them that lifestyle.
Right, but you always, like you said, you want the best. So like, it's like you're making the best decisions for you in light for them too.
Right.
And like, so it's like a two-way street. Like you like, it's almost like damned if you do or damned if you don't, right? Because like, it's like you shelter them, you make, you know, like kind of protect them from the world. They grow up a certain way, and if you let them figure out too much too soon, they also grow up a certain way. So
it doesn't. Yeah, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't, because it doesn't matter. One thing's going to change them, good or bad, and then you just got to decide. And then both kids are going to be completely fucking opposite of the spectrums, right? So I have to coddle one, and then I have to be an asshole to the other one, because that's just what they need, right? And,
each one's different.
And she's a Gemini, so like, so's my wife. So
yeah.
Shout out to Geminis. So, have you ever addressed your mom's death? Your mom passing away? Like, have you gone to therapy or done something on your own that you feel like you have been able to address it in a proper and healthy manner?
Yes, at this point in my life, yes. I still feel things like. So her birthday just passed, and like, it wasn't that I was sad like I was, and I wasn't even really sad. I was more of at a place of understanding. So it still hurt, because it was like, dang, I can't even call my mom to tell her happy birthday. But I'm celebrating her birthday, because like, I'm an extension of her, and she wouldn't want me to be sad that I can't, because like, and so like, I think, again, kind of coming to a place of understanding at this point in my life, yeah.
So you kind of came to like acceptance of it.
I think so. Through my grief, yes. I think even reaching acceptance through grief, though, you still sometimes pass back through the other ones.
Right.
Yeah.
And I feel like we're always going to feel an emotion about it, right? And like, I feel like this is also what causes seasonal depression, right? Like a season doesn't have to be the weather changing. No. It could be a season of just sad things that have happened to you.
Time.
Right? And it's all coincidental, right? So like, this time of the year, you start getting a little extra sad, and you're like, man, what's going on? I don't understand. And it all links back to your childhood trauma, your middle school trauma, you know? So it's just crazy, and how aware we have to be. My old boss used to tell me awareness is $1 million word. And I'm like, yeah. But if you think about it, bro, if you're aware, like, it's invaluable, to be honest, because now you know why somebody's acting. More importantly, you just need to be aware by yourself. It doesn't matter what other people are doing. As long as you're aware with yourself and how you're doing, that's what truly matters.
Yeah, man, and I think that through the process of grieving, I started to realize the patterns that I had created early. And like you said, with kind of like seasonal depression, I started to recognize it. So like, at a point in my life, it was like 6 months, 8 months, I would feel depressed, and like I would be so like down, like, but again, still having to represent on the other side a smile, like a good kid type of thing, you know? And it was like, it was so hard to balance that. And so, and then again, growing and grieving and growing and grieving as you know, again, 23, 24, 25, I started to recognize, oh my goodness, like, last year from July to October, I was depressed. This year, it was only like the month of July and then the month of October. And it was like, okay, now I'm starting to recognize the pattern. Okay, now the next year, it was like October to December, or like, it's just like chunks of time. And I'm like, I'm like, man, I'm sad around these times, but any other time I'm okay. So like, why is it these times? And then it's like, I started to recognize, and then I was able to address it. And I was like, okay, what can I do to start to alter these patterns? And then just the awareness of it, just like knowing, like, okay, now going into my mom's birthday, I have a routine. I know what I do. Okay. so it's like,
so you're prepared for it.
It provides me a comfort. Like, I don't have to grieve, because I know. And so like I said, this year it was like that level of understanding that I've now done that. And it felt good, because like I said, I'm gonna be 30 this year, so it's like, and so it's like, half the time I've been alive, she's been gone, type of thing. And so it's like, to me, to be able to like kind of come to that understanding on her birthday this year really meant a lot to me. And you know, I'm very grateful for, you know, the again, the level of understanding and kind of, like I said, going through those grief and recognizing and being aware of the patterns that I created when I was in a deeper grief young.
Right. Well, I'm happy you were able to come to that recognition, and I'm proud of you of being aware and continuing to work on yourself. The whole time
Every day, bro, is hard.
Absolutely. Bro, I have the saying where you have to stay on guard of your mind, your mental health, 24/7, 365. Because you could be having the greatest day. You could have just won the lottery. One little fucking straw comes down and breaks your goddamn back, and like your whole life's miserable again. But it's because you're just so hyper focused on one thing. But the whole time you were talking, I kept thinking why, and it was because you said you used to challenge everything when you were younger. You were always asking why. So I have a hypothesis that I would like you to try out, because it's for you, apparently.
For sure.
Next time you're going through something, or you're sad or you're depressed, fucking revert back to your childhood and ask why about everything to yourself. Why am I feeling this way?
Yeah.
Look at the timeline. Look at what's going on. Look at your habits. And just keep saying why, and see if why could be the answer. To get out of that funk.
Wow, appreciate that.
Yeah, I don't know. It was weird. Like I was listening to you talking and said, "Why?" And I don't want to sound weird.
No, but that's, hey, look, that's what you were. Yeah, that's the question you needed to. That you needed to say that to me, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, no worries, because it's all back to awareness. Because you ask why,
Yeah.
you're aware. You're getting more aware.
Right.
Knowledge is power.
For sure.
So after college and that, and you're transitioning to Arizona, what have you been up to?
Man, really just trying to push the envelope of making an impact, man. So, you know, I started a marketing company, a music label, Loud and Clear, and I'm really just trying to create like a level of separation, man. Private planes only fit 16 people, bro, and the people on the plane matter the most. I always like to use, you know, what I'm doing, and like right now, like you know, being a rapper, you know, I love music. Music is one of my passions. It actually took place of sports when I stopped playing sports.
Okay.
And so then I, again, became a positive coping mechanism as I became a young adult now. Like, I am a young adult. Now I know, like, again, like, I'm not so much grieving. I'm not so much, like, okay, so what else can I do to facilitate, like, again, positive habits, right? It's like, again, routine. Like, I always write. I always, like, it's a part of my life now. Like, it's like, because I created those habits earlier. And now, not even, like, I publicly started making music in 2019. 2020, I released, like, my first single. So it's not even very long that I've been doing this. But what I'm getting at is like, that's the car. Like, music's the car right now. I got a lot of business ventures that I'm really looking to take on in the world. You know, like I said, I'm only 30, man. So the car that I'm driving right now, I got to have the right pieces in the car and once I get to the destination, now we get into a different car, and then next time you get into a different car, and again, eventually get to that private jet where, you know, and then that takes us to the destination where we all want to be. And again, I think that's a level of happiness, that's a level of lifestyle that people often like look at and dream to have, but like don't often work for it.
Do you feel that you can get to this private jet by yourself, or do you
Absolutely
have to
not.
have all 16 people?
Have to, and 16 and a couple more. You need the pilot, you need a co-pilot. You know, you need people on the plane as well who also make sure the plane gets there too, not just the people on the plane. You know what I'm saying? And that's like, and I'm using that as a metaphor of my, like, the team that I'm building. You know what I'm saying?
No,
like,
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
100%. I'm trying to be devil's advocate,
Ooh,
right?
I like
because
that.
I feel like 16 is a lot of people.
Yeah.
Especially for your circle. No, not yours, but for a circle of friends, right? Because sounds like a lot of people. Just my opinion, right? But I'm just saying, like, do you think potentially you're holding yourself back because you're like, fuck, I need to make sure I get all these 16 people in a sense. But in theory, if you grind it a little bit harder here instead of playing video games for this extra hour, you could get there by your damn self. And like, I don't want to say you're afraid to do it by yourself because, dude, trust me, I get that we need teams to get there, right?
Yeah.
But like, is there a point that you're going to be like, all right, dude, I haven't found the right person, and instead of looking for that person, I'm just going to grind my ass off to get where I want to be, to get on that jet, and then they'll all fall in line?
So I think it's a piece of the in between time though. I think I think one man power like is a lot, and I think you can get far by yourself, and I don't think that I would ever recommend for someone not to try to do something by themselves. But I think when you look at things that are bigger than just the individual, it has to come from other people's visions as well. So like what I'm saying is that like I want 16 people who want to be there. I want 16 people, and I'm using 16 as a reference, right? It may not be that many people, but that's just the saying I like to say. And but it's the quality of people that are on your team. Let's be realistic. I'd rather have 16 people who know the plane just as well as I do, to even if something happens to me, they can keep this plane moving if something happens, opposed to 100 people who are just on for the ride, bro. That's kind of like the
Quality versus quantity.
and that's the aspect that I'm looking for, to again create that level of separation. Everybody is just along for the ride sometimes, man, and I want people who want to make the plane fly too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Personal question for you now.
Yeah.
How do you, lack of better words, release the power, the control, right? Like, not that you care about having the power, but it's your vision, it's your career, it's your music. How do you get your mind around, like, okay, I got to release some control over this area, but it's going to help in the overall picture?
Because I think it then comes back to trust in those people.
So I know
relinquish control.
Yeah, like I need people on my team, right? But like, it's like I want them one day, and then the next minute I'm like, nobody's gonna get my vision the way I have my vision.
Yeah, but I think that's why I think it was the realization of that is not. Like my vision is just the, like, okay, let's just say it's the treasure map, right? Like my vision's just the paper though, but like the route and like how we get there and like what we got to go through and all that stuff is all like random, right? But like the people who are in my circle can see that. Like I got the paper. Like this, like if we got to get, it's like the start is here and the end is here, and this is the paper. I got that much. Everything else, like I kind of like. And people have different skills and talents, right? So example for your podcast, like you bring a different aspect. So you're good. That's your niche. Like if I'm, let's just say I happen to know someone who is asking me to be a guest speaker at a mental health convention or whatever, just off of the stature of who I'm going to be, right? I'd be like, we have a connection. You're who I'm coming to because you have a niche. I don't know about veteran mental health, bro. Like, I mean, I know about how I feel and I know what I think about, but like you have a perspective, and that perspective can be utilized just from knowing me. And so now you're with me at that platform. And now we're growing, and that's how I look at things. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not opposed to that. Like how, because again, you never know. That's why I host networking events. Every last Thursday, it's called Connect and Collab. Every last Thursday of the month, it's at Food on Wood, downtown Phoenix, and the goal is to connect and to collab. We build boards, we build bonds. You come in there, you meet people that you may never meet. You never know who you're going to see there because I know a lot of people, but I also know people who know a lot of people. So it's not, again, the amount of people who are in there, it's who's in there, the quality of the person. So that's what I'm, again, going back to trying to create separation.
So for the however many people on your roster is already filled up out of the 16, right? Did you instantly have a connection with them, a trust? Did you go in and having a blind trust and like, all right, let's give this a shot? Or did you just always feel it before you accepted them in on your team?
So I'll use an example. Shout out to my dog KK, Made with K. He actually was one of the first, so that's my engineer. He's one of the first people who I really like, network connect with. Like that's my bro. Like, he's been around my life since I've been out here. So that's somebody I know I can count on. That's somebody I know that if push comes to shove, dark, like, and it's not about music, like, my boy's there. And that's the type of quality of people that I want around, right? And then those are the 16 seats. Now the people who are working the in the airplane, making sure everything's smooth, those are business relationships. I'm open to business relationships. But that just because you're working the plane doesn't mean you're family. You know what I mean? And that's because that's business. Now again, the people who are sitting, that's family. So it's a level of separation there, in my eyes.
Think you just opened my eyes to viewing it that way. Like, how do you? It's like I don't want to work with people that I don't feel like are family, right? But I have to learn to have a business relationship.
Yeah.
Have you always had that separation, or is that something you had to learn?
I think I definitely had to learn it. I think I was using a lot of emotion and like personal feelings when it came to business. And shout out to my manager, Peyote, man. He helped me understand that what I was doing. So like, if I can use kind of like an example, I was driving a car, meaning my career, the way that I thought it was gonna go, and I was like, I'm gonna get far in this. Like doing it by myself, I thought I was gonna get far. And I actually had a potential. I was packing the car. I'm ready to roll. Boom, boom, boom. And then it's like, all right, I start driving. And then it's like, okay, on this road, I meet someone. And they're like, hey, I know you're trying to get across here, but do you got this? Do you got this? Do you got this? Like, asking me questions that I was just like, wait, what? Like, because I'm not knowing the business. I'm treating it like I know what I'm doing. Like, I love making music. Like, not knowing, but I was making moves. I was my own manager. I was my own bookie. I was my own promoter. Like, I was doing all that by myself. I was getting myself shows. Like, I was getting myself in front of people. I was putting the money behind, my ads and stuff like that. Like, buying beats, whatever, And it's different when I understood that I was doing that with no structure, and it was actually hurting me. Because then, again, I got a perspective of what the music business is. And once I actually, like, I had an idea, but I didn't, so let's just say it was like 1 to 10, right? Like, I had an idea, like, I was like, okay, well, if I have all 10 things, like, I'll be good to make this car go. I only had like 5 or 6 things, and then it was like, okay, well, what about these things? And then it was like, I recognized, being aware now, oh, dang, I don't have everything that I need. Let's go back home and then regroup. And so again, that level of meeting someone and then having them kind of like help in a way that I felt so confident that, like, you helped me see my career a way that now, no matter what, like, I know how to move with it. You know what I mean? And it's like I was, and so as I'm saying that, I'm grateful to have that. And I guess it's what your question was, is if, like, you felt that immediately. No, it wasn't. It was going to be a business relationship at first, but then I actually got to know him, and again, it's in a short period of time, and so that's just my manager. KK I've known for 5-6 years, so it's different levels of time in between relationships. So it's not necessarily like how long I've known someone, or it's actually, like, again, going back to the impact, and that's kind of what my like, that's where my brand is that's where I want to stand with my brand, is basing it on impact and separation. Like, what impact do you make, and how accessible are you?
Yeah.
And that's what Loud and Clear, kind of represents.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was a great way to break it down for me. I just need to get out of my own fucking way, right?
Yeah.
Because I would love to have like a manager doing this shit for me, because it would free up so much time for me, and it'd be so beneficial that I could probably do better and greater things, right? It's just hard having that blind faith into somebody in the beginning.
Yeah.
And then it also stems from childhood responses and memories, because my dad had a business partner that got up in the middle of the night, emptied the bank account, and left town, and never talked to him again.
That's crazy.
And so my dad was always bitter about that. Right? And as I would be, right? You just got fucked over by you thought was your friend.
Yeah.
And you lost your business, or all the money that was in it. So that was instilled in me to not trust people and all that. So
that's logical.
Yeah. So that's just something I got to break. But
Yeah.
I need to do it sooner rather than later, because I'm not doing this shit because I think it's fucking cool.
Yeah.
And I do feel like the curve is coming for like mental health, whether it's mental health and cannabis, mental health and veterans, or whatever. Just mental health is coming around, right?
Awareness in general.
I am trying to stay before the curve, because this shit's not fucking cool. But I care about this, right? I care about you and your life, right?
Appreciate
I had this
that. Thank
dude
you.
that's been first person I met when I moved to Arizona, thought he was my friend, worked for him for a while, quit, turned into a narcissist, has been attacking me, has been making fake Instagram profiles and talking shit, has said everything that my wife's a horrible person to he's going to slap my bald baby's head and I'm a fat fuck, right? And then he had the audacity to call me on Saturday off of another fake number and try to talk to me and try to say goodbye to me. And he wanted to see me one last time before he left and all that shit, right? First of all, it's the making of like a murder mystery.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
secondly, I'm not going to, you broke up with me and this is how you're treating me and now you want to say goodbye because you're leaving. That's just not going to fucking happen. I'm not giving you your closure. But I am going to make sure, because his words were, I'm leaving for good. And I was like, I can't, as much as I don't care for you, you're still a human and your life matters. So I had to ask him, I was like, where are you going? Like, what's going on? And he said he was just going to live out of a trailer and move about, like go by his daughter who's in another state. And I was like, all right, cool. Well, I wish you the best. Hope everything works out for you and safe travels. And that was it.
Yeah.
Motherfucker drove by my house an hour later. But, But like, so I don't even know why I was telling that story, but I felt good to vent it out.
Yeah, I'm here for you too, bro.
But yeah, so like, it doesn't matter how wrong you've done me. Like, I don't want you to hurt yourself.
Yeah.
And so like, this shit's not cool, but it's necessary. And if I can be on the forefront and I have to use my insecurities and my flaws and my traumas to save someone else, by all means, I'm going to do it. Because actually, I'm fucking saving myself more than I'm saving anybody else, right?
Hey,
I'm doing this
man.
for myself just as much as helping anybody else.
Hey, man, that's why I'm here too, man. And again, I think that kind of goes back to the point is like, we don't necessarily got to look the same to have problems to go through, man. And so, like, we don't got to do the same things to feel the same type of ways. Like, our walks can be mad different. And, like, we've probably both experienced something similar as far as either, anger, frustration, grief, depression, anxiety, like, in some sort of fashion. So, it's cool to share. I think it actually helped me even just to hop up here and kind of talk about the way that I've processed. Even so, like, and I actually feel like I could talk hours and hours about it, man. Like, even going into like what I did to kind of like get over certain things, like when it came to like meditation and
that's what I fucking want to hear. Because although I want to fucking meditate, but it's so hard for me to calm my brain because I just let thoughts come in and then I stick on it and just stay. So I want to learn to meditate. I want to hear your tips and tricks because one, I don't want to do everything you're doing. And then two, I want to know what you're doing that's helping you here. Right? I forget what exactly transpired, but the event I saw you and Peyote at last, Deep Stories. I said something to you and you said, no, I don't have time for that. I have to get in the mode. I'm working or something like that. Or like, you don't want anything to get in the way of your vision. And I was like, fuck, dude, I want to hear more of that personality. I want to know more of what is behind that. What created that person in you to be able to cut that switch or to recognize, like, work is work, business is business, but that you don't want to fuck up your priorities, So I was really impressed in that moment.
I appreciate you, man. And I try, I mean, I look at what I do like professionally, like it's my life, man. Like I live that. So I think trying to practice and hone, my own understanding of myself better really helped me kind of. So like again, I think the athlete mindset, I think the I think the influence of my parents, even like young, I kind of helped that, and then really kind of taking my own level of understanding. So like in college, I did shrooms, and like I kind of just like self-realized a lot, and then like that was like a year after my daughter was born, and like I was like I like recognized so many things. Like I was just like, whoa, my eyes opened up, and then like I kind of like then begin to understand the importance of what my thoughts were, and like actually like the realization of myself. I think that was one of the first experience that I actually recognized that I'm a human being. You know what I mean? Like I was like, yo, I'm consciously thinking about everything that's going on, and like I'm consciously making these decisions. I'm consciously doing these things, and that I have a subconscious. So again, coming through those behaviors and coming through those things, and so that made me then want to understand what meditation was, and like actually recognizing what my thoughts were. So like I don't like going into religion to an aspect, but I also have faith, and understanding that there's we all come from something, and but and I think that kind of also knowing that gave me peace to be able to get to where I was going. You know what I'm saying? And it was like, that was, okay, so now it's a combination of things. It's my vices, it's my positive reinforcement, it's the realization of my thoughts, and now boom, okay, so now I'm combining all of these together, and I'm understanding like that's how I'm supposed to function. Like I was the most healthy. I was working out. Working out plays such a huge role in mental health. Meditation, though, man, it was one of like it was like the waking up and stilling of my thoughts. So like when a thought would come up, I would recognize that it's a thought, whatever it was, good, bad, indifferent, whatever. Like, oh, I'm thinking about my thoughts. I would recognize that that's a thought, and then let it go. Like just literally, just accept. Like it was like a confirm. Like it was like I was like taking a stamp, and you're just sitting there kind of focused, like, and you're like thinking about the thought. So like you're like, damn, I know that I'm thinking about thinking. It sounds crazy, right?
Yeah, it's deep. I get it though.
But that's what it is though, and recognizing that, to let like confirm it and then let it go and it takes time. It took me like, I don't know, 3 years and some change to like only be able to meditate like 30 minutes. Like I was doing it in like 5-minute increments, like 10-minute increments. Like,
were you legitimately telling yourself though, like, oh, that's a thought, let's let it go?
Yes, absolutely.
Out
like
loud or conscious?
No, just like just in my mind. Like I like almost like I'm almost like visualizing the words. Like I'm seeing it, and then it's like, okay, I like even right now, like, okay, it's like, damn, I'm thinking about talking. Like in that, like I just closed my eyes and just thought, and like I saw the word talking in my brain. I was like, okay, I thought about it, and then like I said it, obviously. But when you're meditating, you don't say anything, so it's just like boom, process thought, boom, process thought, and it's just like using your breathing to compound that. So it's like if you're breathing in through your nose, and like you can even think about it like counting. Like each time you go up a number, it's like you're forgetting, you're not hanging on to one when you're going to two, you're thinking about two. So it's like the same concept. It's like you're breathing 1, 2, 3, 4. And it's like, but now you're thinking about counting. So let go of that. Now you're just breathing on that pattern. You count, so just say you do it 10 times in a row, like 1, 2, 3, 4, like 10 times, and now you stop counting and just breathe and then start thinking. And your body's still, then you can think about whatever. Oh, damn, I forgot to take the lunch, like, I forgot to take the laundry out or whatever. You know what I mean? Like normal life things that come to your mind randomly. And it's just the willingness to, how long are you willing to get through to that? Like, The first 5 minutes are going to be like, damn, you're thinking about 30 fucking things. And then by, minute 6, 7, 8, or however long, it kind of comes down to one thought. And then it's like no thoughts. And now you're at like that kind of like centerpiece of just like no thoughts.
Yeah. I went to a 2-week mental health course in Boston, and they taught us there to imagine that you're on a river and your thoughts are on a leaf floating away. So let them come to you and then let them go. But so I can envision that. Sometimes it works, and then other times I get caught watching it, and that motherfucker just never goes. It just keeps going and going and going, but it's still there, right? Like, come on, I want the next thought. Right. I get too like hyper focused on that. What are other healthy coping mechanisms you use?
Honestly, I feel like I write down because it comes with music, right? So like I write down how I'm feeling sometimes. Like and even if it's not in the way of a song or anything like that, it's just like I feel like that level of self-talk helps me recognize what I'm feeling. So then it's like, okay, like the physical sensation of anger, the words that I'm seeing, that I'm saying, that I'm feeling to myself allows me to recognize that. So then I can work on it when I do feel angry and I don't have a piece of pen and paper. Like, it's like, okay, you're just angry. You don't need to act irrational. Like, you were upset that this is happening. Like, what am I actually mad at?
Right.
And so it doing those things, and I think so like I've never really, like I never really stayed in therapy. I went to therapy at, I want to say like an early stage in my college career.
Okay.
And I tried to, I wasn't able to be honest with myself and the therapist. So it was like, I was like, yo, bro, we're going to just be.
You weren't ready for it.
Yeah. And so then I actually never continued to go, like I never went back. So then, but then again, I had that like psychedelic experience. And then actually, again, it's kind of realizing, helped me understand, like, again, like I'm the cause of everything that's happening in my life. Everything.
That's such a realization to accept too, right? Because we'll just go with my life. There's a lot of shit that's happening in my life or has happened, and then I'm like, it's not my fault. But then you got to stop. Like, yeah, it is my fault. Like, I may have not have done those actions or done something.
Right.
I've either stayed in that situation or my previous actions are the cause of that action,
right,
So
right.
It's hard to accept it. But like I said earlier, it really works for me recently when I'm mad or spiraling or wherever I'm at to realize, halt's great. But to realize, to tell myself, like, you're doing this to yourself. You're choosing to be mad right now. And then it pisses me off to a calm level, if that makes sense.
Like, you're like mad that you're mad, but you know that you're mad, so you're cooling.
Yeah, it's like it takes me out of the manic mad where I don't have control
snapped.
Or I'm not recognizing.
Right.
Like, all I'm focused on is like, that was the last straw. I'm going to fuck this shit up. Like, I'm over it. But then, like, I tell myself, like, you're choosing to be this way. And I was like, fuck you, bitch. But I'm like, oh, okay. Okay, I'm still mad. But, like, you come down a level. Right. It's like you come out of the red.
So do you believe that that's like a level of self-talk though? Like, or like that you didn't write it down on paper, but like, do you believe that that's like kind of like how you process that?
Yeah, I feel like it is a version of self-talk. And speaking of self-talk, I definitely need to improve my self-talk. I'm my number 2 bully. I won't talk about who's my first. But I talk the worst to myself.
Yeah.
And even subconsciously and quietly, or like even as simple as I drop something, I'm like, oh, you stupid ass. Like, I don't mean it, but I'm telling myself that, so that's how I genuinely start to feel. So I really do need to improve my self-talk. And I went through a period of time last month where I was telling myself, I love myself, I love myself,
That's
I love
amazing.
myself.
Affirmations are awesome.
Yeah, but yeah. So we do got to wrap it up. And
yeah, for sure. No, like I said, I could talk literally hours. Yeah.
But yeah, so tell me about what you're doing now, though. Any upcoming events?
Like I said, Connecting Collab is so I got November 30th. That's gonna be probably the last one for 2023. The TSA soiree, that's in the mix for December. We just got to solidify a couple more details, but that's going to be, it's going to be a real exclusive vibe, man, private party, you know what I'm saying? kind of like connecting, collab, like I was saying, networking, meeting people, but actually on like a deeper level, like a lot more people, a lot more influential people. It's gonna be a movie. It's gonna be a good time, classy affair. Suit and tie type of vibe. Real loud and clear, like exclusive, man. Wine, charcuterie boards.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Might even, get some Forno pizza. Just for the people who don't like charcuterie boards and meat and all that stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's gonna be a good vibe.
And how can people find you?
Hey, man, on Instagram, you can find me on Spotify, Apple Music, and I'm on YouTube. I just also dropped a gaming channel, Loud and Clear Gaming.
Okay.
So you can find me anything Loud and Clear, LLC.
How do you spell it?
LOUD space N apostrophe space CLEAR.
All
Loud
right.
and Clear.
Well,
Pilot
perfect.
Flyin.
I make everybody stand up and give me a hug at the end, so you're going to give me a hug right
Most
now.
definitely.